Welcome to the 2023 Prodigy Presents Waco Annual Charity Open. This is Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the MPO Chase Card in the Round 2 Front 9. I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nathan Queen.
Yeah, and excited to be out here in Waco. We've got some beautiful views and a beautiful course we get to play on with some different type of shots than we're used to seeing out here on tour. Gives you some exciting action, keeps all the scores close, as you see right here. Our entire card 10 under par after the first round.
Yeah, Paul Oman, GT Hancock, Eric Oakley, and Brodie Smith out to a hot start, and only two behind the lead right now. So a lot of folks in play, and others hot on their heels trying to take that chase card and lead card spots.
Yeah, and straight into these bag checks here. Paul Oman putting with the KC Pro AVRs. Gonna see some rocks and Toros, maybe Eagles, Roadrunners, and Thunderbirds. Might see a destroyer or two out there in the open.
GT Hancock, sponsored by Prodigy. You see he's going to be putting with the PA3s, and a pretty balanced forehand and backhand player. We're going to see M2s and M4s for his mid-range shots, and he's got 7 foul cores in the bag, so expect to see those in the open.
And Eric Oakley, Infinite Discs mixed bag, putting with the Glow Peeblin Alpacas. Probably see a little bit of Dynasty in one of those 7 Emperors that he has in the bag.
And Brodie Smith, sponsored by Discraft, going to be putting with the Brodie Swirl Roach. We know he likes throwing zones for his upshots, and lots of nukes in the bags, and a heavy reliance on stability, able to throw his forehand and backhand.
Yeah, and into hole 1, 291-foot gap to hit for some, and hyzer over the right side for others. The wind can be a deciding factor on that, which has switched to a bit of a headwind today, different from yesterday's tailwind.
Sponsored by Innova Champion Disc, Paul Oman.
Tall Paul Oman to start it off. Definitely look for a very deliberate swing from Paul. He's going to load real slowly and have a lot of power at the hit point.
Yeah, Paul, a great guy and a great player, and has lots of attributes for nicknames, as I'll go with Sloman Oman. Gets it inside circle 1.
2:34 tee time from Bedford, Texas, sponsored by Prodigy, GT Hancock.
Let's go, GT.
GT Hancock, as you heard, from Bedford, Texas. You know Texas loves to show up, both to spectate and to play. I heard there were over 1,100 spectators paid this weekend already.
Yeah, and that's not even final round Sunday just yet, which could double that.
GT eyeing up the high right side hyzer. Gets it over the trees, and managing a crosswind here can be a challenge.
Good shot, GT.
Yeah, but he gets it done nicely. Going to be inside circle 1.
Third in the order for your 2:34 tee time from Pensacola, Florida, sponsored by Infinite Disc, Thought Space Athletics, Clash Disc, and Whale Sacks, Eric Oakley.
All right, tour veteran Eric Oakley lining up the mid-range backhand to start.
Yeah, another unique form style. Paul, very unique. Eric, also very unique. Doesn't quite get that one right. Ends up yanking it over just a little bit. He'll be OB right side.
From Dallas, Texas, sponsored by Team Discraft, Brodie Smith.
Brodie sees GT's line, going to try to bite off the same.
Yeah, and I think just a bit too nose up on that. Didn't really get flat to make sure that crosswind didn't push it immediately, and gets pushed over to the left side there.
Eric goes to the forehand, and unfortunately going to skip over the wall that defines the out of bounds. You can kind of play for that as a little backstop most of the time.
On this hole, at least. You
Yeah,
can
the
use
only
it
one on
for
the
a
course.
backstop. And GT's got a chance for birdie to start his round off. And able to connect on it. That's good feeling to get started. You know, he is a Texas player and a very good player at that, but probably hasn't been on a ton of film cards this early on in the year, so not showing any nerves so far as Brodie cleans up his bogey.
And centered for Eric. I know it's a double bogey, but it's good to make that first putt regardless of how you do it.
Yeah, boy.
And making sure he's dialed in. Gets a nice 2 to start for Paul as well.
Hole 2, our first par 4. There is out-of-bounds sidewalk to the right and the Brazos River beyond that. The suggestion of a gap shot, you kind of got 2 options to go left or right of the initial tree, and then ideally you want to land in this bowl. The fairway is going to pinch down with more out-of-bounds left, beyond, and right of the basket, which is going to be elevated. Again, playing into a headwind.
That elevated basket is new on this hole this year. Paul not quite able to catch the hat, but the shot's still going to work out well anyway. And the headwind here is really going to make the upshot a lot more difficult than we saw yesterday. Tougher to get the distance off of the tee. Plus there's OB behind the basket, so you don't want to throw too hard, even though you do have to throw it a bit harder with that headwind.
Brodie with a lower pull, gonna hug that inside. A little bit of ground action, leaving him maybe 280 to 300 away.
Side, any side. That's the wrong side.
Oh, man. Pretty good looking shot from Eric, and just barely kind of nicks that tree that defines the center of the fairway. Ends up getting a pretty big kick off to the left side. Gonna have a lot of distance left here.
Set.
Wow, puts a good move on the forehand upshot, and opportunity to scramble for birdie here.
Yeah, not really in a headwind putt position, so he does have a good look at the basket as this one gets a little away from Brodie. I'm not quite sure where he ended up there.
I thought I heard him say Nuke OS. Sure didn't fly like one, to my eye. GT playing the backhand, and that'll, again, leaves him a putting opportunity. I said yesterday that this course kind of has 6 easy holes, 6 hard holes, and 6 medium holes. But I should clarify, they're not always the same day to day. When the wind switches, you can have holes that become really, really, really hard after playing easy the other day.
Yeah, and I think I would define this as one of those. This can be pretty easy with that low wind to tailwind, but headwind. And we don't have many good birdie looks here. I mean, Eric did get up close with a great upshot, but some pitch ups for par. He needed that to bounce back. Still got some golf left, though.
Yeah, it's important not to write your own narrative after hole 2. Like 16 holes is a lot of golf to figure out where your round is going to go.
That brings us into hole 3, 320-foot par 3, slightly uphill to the left. The flight that the drone is going is going to be the ideal line. They've added a couple trees to make you keep it a bit straighter, more than just being able to throw a hyzer. There's also a forehand line off to the left, but it is a bit tighter, so not the ideal way to go.
Yeah, tighter and more challenging with this heady cross. I know Brodie had told me he was practicing that forehand line, but elected not to use it today because he wasn't going to get there. And GT, maybe not quite stable enough. The initial shape was good, but it doesn't fight back to the left enough.
Yeah, I think the wind just affected that more than he thought that it would.
It's a good correction by Brodie, playing the hill check, and gets himself a 25-footer for birdie.
So Eric, after catching early with a couple backhands on the first 2 holes, opts for the forehand and still catches early here. Gonna be scrambling yet again. And doesn't quite get it done here. Really needs to put this close for a no pressure bogey, just to try to get some stress off of him, if anything.
Yeah, good approach there. If you're going to have to putt for bogey on an elevated basket, let's make it a drop in.
Flag blowing right at him, maybe a little bit across. And I think if with a little more cross, that would have pushed it in, but just off to the left side.
My name is Paul Oman. I play out of Evansville, Indiana, very proudly. Love the Hoosiers. I got to thank Innova Champion for getting me out here, allowing me to play all of these events. I got to thank my homies at home, Doug Miller, Alex Bean. You know who you are. That's what I started with. And yeah, I've got some merch coming out soon. Tree Love Disc Golf out of Dallas. They've got amazing stuff, and they're gonna collab with me, do some hats and things. So keep a lookout for those. And if you're on the course, have some fun, man.
Hole 4, another par 4. Kind of a funny shape to it, a little bit of an S-turn. The landing zone is blind off the tee, so you need something that's going to move left initially. There is a out-of-bounds path far to the left, and then the Brazos River behind the basket as the fairway snakes back to the right. Getting off the fairway here pretty much adds a half a stroke instantly. Brodie's birdie on 3 earns him the box.
And what a shot. Picture perfect. On a hyzer, but not really flying left, just pushing straight, and then gets that good straight ground play. Exactly what you want.
Yeah, we don't need a drone if Brodie's going to throw like that. Good shape by GT. One little skip, and that pushes far enough left that he will be able to see the basket. Probably still needs to throw a little bit of an anhyzer or forehand up to it.
Maybe all right.
Eric catches the middle tree and a good roll out to the center.
Yeah, Eric in one of those spots where it's pretty difficult to decide if you should go for it or if you should just pitch around the corner. That tree that's right there in the middle, if you go inside of it, it's pretty difficult to get it straight enough. But if you go outside of it, you're going to end up right side.
Yeah, it's really, really neat to have a 441-foot hole that still plays hard. Like, you can see people take all natural sixes on it. And that's a testament to the vision of Joey Harrell, as well as some other locals in Waco who have put countless hours into the design and management of this course. This normally plays as the back nine, the woods do, of the beast, and all of that maintenance is done by volunteers.
Yeah, and to your point, that 441-foot par 4 that averaged over par today, not something that you see very often. As Eric gets a nice late stop, gonna have an opportunity there.
Good precise layup by Paul.
Oh, kid.
Oh, and not quite able to connect for the birdie.
And Eric, another clean putt for a bogey. And good high chains for Brodie.
Yeah, this basket can be a little nervy. You see how quickly it does drop down to the Brazos. And GT's going to be looking right at it. Oh, and falls victim to that slight headwind. You saw it rise out of his hand to the basket the entire time. Ends up just a little bit high. Into hole 5. 264-foot par 3. You're going to go up a couple shelves here. And it's got a hint of left to right in it, but really a straight shot is going to do best. If you get it too low and don't crest that second hill, it kind of skittles off to the right side and might give you an obstructed putt.
You hear the little groan from Brodie. That shot was very nearly parked. If you just take the speed off at the top of the hill, it funnels you right to the basket. If you land at the basket, you're liable to end up at back of circle.
Yeah, just a bit of overpower there, but both of them right around circle's edge, one with a scarier putt than the other.
I like that admonition from GT. Stop thinking, throw the disc. You wonder if he's still carrying that missed opportunity from hole 4 with him.
Oh, man, it's hard to stop thinking though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need to think in order to assess the game of golf, but there's also a time when it gets in the way.
Circle two's edge.
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain things that you should think about and certain things that you don't need to think about. And they change throughout what type of situation you're in, but that's all things that you have to learn to keep that mental game strong.
Yeah, and GT with plenty of tournament experience, having set the record for most MPO tournaments played in a year. But still, the second... Oh, just a little splash out on the right. The second Pro Tour event of the year, maybe not everybody has the tournament level focus dialed in.
Yeah, long off season. Not playing tournaments and playing tournaments is a very different feeling. So just a couple events in, you might not be into that groove that you can get into mid-season or late in the year. Was Paul Oman able to connect, though, for his second birdie of the round?
Yeah, I really like the glidiness of the way Paul likes to putt. It's not a super fast spin putt, but very efficient. Hole 6, 267 feet. Definitely need to hit the initial gap, and then the fairway is going to break down the hill to the right. You're going to see an equal mix of forehands and backhands, not necessarily on this card, but field wide.
Stay on the short step, it might slide.
Brodie pushing the zone. And he gets a much better ground reaction than Paul did.
Yeah, it looked like Paul was going to catch that dirt and slide on down there, but ended up getting a little bit of that sticky grass.
I like this from Eric, pushing it further than Brodie had.
Thank you. Let's go.
And man, like the difference in dirt and grass is unpredictable when you're throwing at 267.
Nice shot, bud. Thank you.
But with the knowledge of how these discs get to where they got.
Eric, you said you were where?
Just a bit low there from Paul after GT throws a very controlled backhand shot. Trying not to mess with that ground play too much, Eric Oakley able to get his first birdie of the round there.
Thanks for watching coverage, guys. If you're looking to try to get some Dark Horse merch, you can go to brodiesmith.discraft.com. We also have some stuff on foundationdisc.com as well. We've got a Tour Series disc coming soon, so stay tuned for that.
This looks perfect. Off the basket. Now it's rolling. It's headed for the OB. This needs to sit. Oh my goodness. It's safe. Right on the line. She's going to have about a 30-foot putt for the win. Okay, here we go. The putt is up. Boom, it's in. Strong side with authority. What an incredible moment. Yes.
All right, and here we are at hole 7. We have made it to our first real eagle opportunity of the round. 429-foot par 4, but you've got a pretty tight tunnel to hit off of the tee pad. If you get out of that tunnel, if you've got a great forehand, you have an opportunity to be flexing back over that ravine there. Give yourself a eagle opportunity, but birdie plays pretty nicely here. If you can get out of that gap on a nice hyzer like this, gonna have a fairly easy upshot to card the 3.
This looks like a shot that Eric is trying to make something happen on. And he's done that work.
Yeah, great move on that one.
Come on, focus on the shot.
He doesn't love that, asking
early
himself to
release there.
focus on the shot. But even that still has a chance to birdie if he can clear the valley.
And this needs to slow down. Kind of pinched off over there. Best play, if you have it, is kind of a touchy forehand turnover right there. As GT's just trying to make something happen from way back there. Going to be in a pretty tricky position now.
You see the angle that Brodie is putting onto this. That suggests that Paul is going to have to do something even fancier. Taking it wide around the tree short, and wow. Just nice control.
That was not as easy as he made that look. Although it looked like he had a lot of space for that whole flight, that was a very controlled, tight gap he had to hit from the angle he had.
GT kind of going full power from about 80 feet. He'll have himself a par look, and this is Eric for birdie. Yeah.
All right. We've got some back-to-back birdies for Eric after a bit of a rough start. Almost had that eagle opportunity. We did get a couple eagles on this hole today. Joel Freeman and Austin Hannum able to card the 2.
A couple of guys definitely known for big forehands.
Yeah, I still remember that big forehand Austin Hannum had up at Delaware.
But not to overlook 3 very nice birdies from our card. And on hole 8, 213 feet, our shortest hole. And it's all about the tunnel shot. You need to hit the ground a little ways short, whether it's a forehand or a backhand, and then stop. There is a pretty severe drop-off right and beyond.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah, and Brodie trying to use the ground there to control the distance on his shot and just gets it down a bit early. I do like the idea, though.
Great shot.
All right, looks like Eric has woken up. He's put himself in position for a potential turkey. And this is early from Paul. That's pure layup territory, right?
Definitely so. Very fast green right here. Not that it goes super far downhill, but there's so much stuff down there that when you get down there, it's very hard to have a clean putt.
Right, and we saw that in round 1 with our feature card playing it well above par as a group.
And a nice layup there. Just what he needed. This is kind of that tester zone where you're not sure whether to run it or not.
Brodie giving it his
If you've got a
scooper half
scooper.
bid.
Yeah, that sits down pretty nicely.
Dude, stop thinking when you're playing, man.
And that definitely looked like my body or my brain says yes, but my body says no.
Well done by Eric. I appreciate that we've seen a couple times so far that Paul is laying up and like executing his game plan and giving himself these 4-footers. Like there's no sloppiness in the layup.
Yeah, and that clean round showing you that so far. That's a good game plan. Brings us into hole 9, 519 foot par 4 with a tight gap, low ceiling to hit. Navigate through all these trees. If you can drift just a little bit left and then fade back right to this area, that's going to be your best opportunity to try to get this birdie. But very difficult to get down to that bowl at the bottom. Just kind of a funny angle. Forehand is going to be best if you have it, but backhand plays nicely also. Backhand, honestly, I think is a little more open of a gap. It's just harder to get the angle right.
Looks like Eric and Brodie both trying to play the kind of flip up forehand. Brodie's going to get caught short of the corner. And wow.
And
Wow.
Sloman Omen just lacing that fairway. Oh man, what a beautiful shot.
That gets him in such a honey spot. And Paul had told me that he felt like the open holes out here mostly are pretty routine shots. So he spent a lot of extra time in practice thinking about the wooded holes in particular. And 9 is where you can gain or lose strokes to the entire field.
Yeah, and he has an opportunity to gain after that incredible tee shot. GT gonna end up just a little bit left side.
And Eric lines up a forehand roller Kind of goes off to Narnia, I'm guessing. In general, once you're out of position on this
GT.
hole, you just have to get to where GT did.
Yeah, he ended up not to be in too bad of a spot off of his drive. Had a little room to flex out. And this looks like trouble over here.
Yeah, well done by Brodie.
Look at the
Full extension there.
Yeah, flick of the wrist.
Okay, that's making something out of nothing for Eric. He's kind of,
He's battling.
yeah, fought through all of the woods so far. Yeah, good touch zone from Brodie. Little 15-footer for par. And we're finally to Paul.
Finally. And look at that, just a little standstill. It doesn't have to do much of anything to reach this pin. Gets up there nicely inside the circle. Can't make it look a whole lot easier.
Push. Left.
Favorable reaction for GT. Looked like a distortion there. And
Quality bogey save.
yeah, as much as he fought on that hole, that has the potential to keep his round going. He built some momentum, so as we get into the back nine, hope to see him build on that.
And speaking of momentum, Paul Oman here has got the birdie on hole 9, third hardest hole on the course, almost averaging half a stroke above par. Moves himself to 4 down through this front 9.
Had at one time been called a par 5. Brodie makes a better door than window. And a good par save by GT.
At least he dug down for us there.
Good course awareness. So, as you see, Paul Oman tied for 8th right now with that 4 down front 9. A couple other guys under par, and Eric looking to make some moves on the back. But still, overall, anybody's game.
Yeah, you see young gun Cole Rodallen from the Pacific Northwest out here shooting a hot second round. We're looking forward to this back 9 where anything can happen. And for Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen. We'll see you guys out there.